Hi there, my name is JackTheFallout and welcome to my video on Starfield. I have been an absolutely huge Bethesda fan and a pretty loyal one ever since I first played Fallout 3 on the PS3. I played through the entirety of Starfield just for this video, so hopefully you are going to give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. And every single subsequent Bethesda release on the PlayStation, including Fallout 76, but we don't really talk about that one.
Thank you.
And I'm saying this because not being able to play it on PlayStation leaves a sour taste in my mouth. I will not lie. So now we have Starfield. Take it away, Mr. Howard.
Starfield is our first new universe in over 25 years.
And for me, this is the first Bethesda release I haven't got a physical edition. And all of this I'm discussing now definitely makes me feel sad. And ever since I heard about its exclusivity, I have been incredibly worried. Because I know Xbox does quantity over quality. And that is incredibly unfortunate, because that means their up-and-coming releases are not going to be the same as they were before. And fundamentally, ZeniMax Media and Bethesda are dead. You do in fact need an SSD to get Starfield working, so I had to go out and purchase one. I don't know if you saw this, but PC Games were doing a hard drive giveaway for Starfield. You can't play Starfield on a hard drive, I tried. I thought that was pretty funny. So, Starfield is a shite game disguised as a good one. The more you play Starfield, the better it becomes, because you get used to the smell of crap.
That is one big pile of shit.
This is why I believe Starfield is a lot worse than you originally thought. This video is all about my utter disappointment that is Starfield. Without further ado, let's begin with the bad. Starfield is a game what is basically Fallout 4 but in space, and that should have a good feeling, right? Well, you are wrong. The space aspect in Starfield is pretty goddamn pointless, and the game would be a lot better if it was more fleshed out. Because you don't spend nearly enough time up there. Space is basically the place you go before you go to a planet's surface. Most of the time, that's absolutely it. This being the case about 80% of the time, the other 20% is spent doing this. You could have a random ship battle, or you might need to get to a space station. On a rare occasion, you will get hailed by another ship and have to engage in conversation with them.
Thank you for responding. Our grav drive is old.
And aside from a few missions that take place in space, that is absolutely it. And this is why I think Starfield is, most of the part, a bad game. Because this is partly how the game works. Technically, there is a whole solar system you can explore. Any of the planets you can land on, wherever you want. But the whole thing doesn't feel authentic. The world isn't stitched together. It's not fluent. And Mr. Todd Howard said it best, in his odd way of telling half-truths while skimming past the bad details. And I know Marketing 101. Take it away, again, Mr. Howard.
But this time, it's not just one world. It's over 1,000 worlds.
It may be 1,000 worlds, but you cannot land on all of them, and that number includes gas giants as well. And yes, only 10% of the planets have life on them. But looking at the scale of things, that is still 100 planets, which is impressive.
That isn't just a backdrop. That moon is actually there orbiting the planet. Yes, you can visit it too.
Can you get in your ship, take off and fly to that moon? No, you cannot. Can you fast travel there? Yes, you can. And depending where you are, it could take 2 loading screens to get there.
We love exploration and rewarding it, but you do explore differently in this game given its scale. That usually involves exploring an area you've landed in.
Ah yes, the compromise. This game is fast travel simulator. So now that we have realized every place you want to visit is separated by some kind of loading screen or deceptive animation. This includes docking, stop laughing, landing and taking off, using the grav jump, entering any kind of building, and entering your ship. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to count how many loading screens it takes to get from Earth's surface to another planet. I hate that robot. Getting in your ship, number 1. Taking off, number 2. Grav jump is number 3, deceptive animation. Traveling to a different planet because you selected the wrong one is number 4. Landing on the planet, number 5. Getting out of your ship is number 6. So it can take between 4 to 6 loading screens to get to the location you want. And for me personally, that completely breaks the immersion. Just games like No Man's Sky and others similar to it can achieve seamless space travel. Yet Starfield is unable to do this kind of exploration. It is so bad, and it ruins the whole experience for me. Every time I take off or land or enter a loading screen, I just sigh. And I'll be honest, this could 100% be my fault for overestimating what I believed Bethesda were capable of. And that is a lot of reason why some games can be so disappointing, because we expect a certain standard, and when that standard isn't reached, we become disappointed. Ship customization, as well as custom ships and everything ship related. The pointless space really put me off customizing my ship for the first 12 hours, and I only really did it for the sake of this video. So let's talk all about ship customization and how it looked great in the Starfield Direct, but guess what? Customizing your ship is painful. While you're doing it, there is no way to save your progress. So if your game crashes, which it most certainly will given enough time, you can lose hours of progress in mere seconds. In the early stages, getting your ship looking the way you want is nearly impossible. Why? You have this lovely feature called mass. And if you have too much mass on your ship, you will be unable to finalize the build, forcing you to remove everything that you did to reduce all of the mass on your ship. So remember, don't invite your mother on board. In the early stages of the game, the ship customization feels too restricted, and that also makes it incredibly frustrating. It was only when I unlocked the Star Eagle that the ship customization became a bit more manageable and was actually fun to use. Changing the color of your ship is really good. You can make your ship as colorful and as bland as you like. Unlike all of the other ship customization, being able to color any part of your ship is great. Apart from selecting what color you want takes an awful long time. As I said, I unlocked the Star Eagle, which is a unique ship variant, and it is fantastic. So while looking through all of the ship customization options, I realised that I didn't need any of them. My weapons are good, my ship's good, everything is fine. And the really powerful options are locked behind perks that I am nowhere near getting, even towards the end of the game. The space fights are a double-edged sword. On one side it is sharp, fun and rewarding, and on the other, the ships feel clunky and overweight, and you have to tank most of the enemy attacks, and this is not fun. And I felt it was unfair to solely base the combat off of the first 2 ships that you get. With the first 2 ships that you unlock, which is a prison shuttle and your starting ship, after leveling up a couple of times, earning skill points, you are able to unlock a skill that lets you target different ship systems. It gave me VATS vibes, and with these 2 original ships, it feels lobotomized, and the ship combat definitely felt like it needed work. It felt vapid and void of strat. I felt like even older games had better ship combat than what I experienced in the first 15 hours of the game. You get destroyed so easily, and it felt like luck was at play most of the time. After I went through this large questline, earned quite a nice ship. The ship combat improved tenfold. The Star Eagle is one of the best ships in the game. It is fun to fly, it is great to use, the weapons absolutely slap, and it takes out any target that you want. I really like this ship, and it makes the combat 100 times better. So if you are planning on playing Starfield, I highly recommend just knock out the 3-star Rangers questline immediately, because you will earn this absolutely fantastic ship that will make the game feel a lot better than without it. The ship itself took me about 4 hours to earn. Talking about the ships, more importantly the HUD. Whoever designed the HUD for this game deserves to be fired, because it is so ugly. I cannot believe they looked at this and said, this is good, this will do. Who the fuck approved this monstrosity? The big circle in the middle and the info covers the nice interior of the ships. or the ship itself, depending on what view you choose. I think you can use commands to turn it off, but then important info will be missing, like the boost and weapons. They could have had the HUD merge with the interior of the ship to create a seamless and nice viewing area, but no, unfortunately, they went with this big ugly fucking circle. I hate it so much. It is like the worst HUD I have ever seen in any game. Ugly fucking circle. The boost is another thing that I really do not like. It makes the game feel a whole lot slower. Even the small amount of time that you spend in space. When you're in a ship battle, you want to be zooming around and chasing down your enemies, but with the restricted boost, you find yourself just pushing in R3 constantly. Restricting your movement like that makes things feel slow and boring at times. Planet problems! Earth is one planet that doesn't have much of a role in all of this, even though there are a few missions that evolve around Earth. I will not spoil them here. So when you are given the option to freely visit Earth, go anywhere, land anywhere on planet Earth, you are going to try and visit famous locations. And that is definitely going to end with disappointment, because it's just a giant desert with like rocks and shit. Welcome to the Grand Canyon. It's full of sand. Have you ever been to Stoke-on-Trent? It's full of sand! Have you ever been to the Sahara Desert? Wait, that hasn't changed. And I tried to go to many famous locations when I first picked up the game, to find absolutely nothing. You have two options: find books to unlock fast travel locations to famous places around the world, or you can attempt to find the location yourself by landing near or on the specific place where it is, though it is extremely difficult to find because of the scale of Earth. I have to give them props there. I don't think it would have taken long for, instead of rocks and rubble show up on Earth, debris and broken buildings show up in prominent locations instead. Earth, which is known to be covered in 71% water, all of that water has magically turned into sand. The year at the moment is 2023, and Starfield takes place 300 years into our future. So 300 years passed and Earth turned into a ball of sand. I don't know about you, but I think that sounds like a load of baloney. So what could they have done to Earth to make it better? What if, instead of turning Earth into a giant desert, Earth became a giant water world? Kind of like where Neon is currently. But instead of a giant party place called Neon, Earth became a giant tourist attraction, because that is a very human thing. You could go visit various locations around Earth, pay a small fee before docking, and have a look at buildings sticking out of the water. Stepping away from Earth, most planets that you find are barren, and I have zero issue with this, but they don't feel like planets. There is a lot, and I mean a lot, of copy and pasted rocks. I challenge you to find an open desert or some icy cliffs or anything that is remotely unique. Even a bloody river or a lake. I haven't seen any of them. Take a look at Minecraft, for example. You can find some wonders of the world shit in that game, and it's made up of blocks. I just want to find something remotely interesting to look at. You can tell the random places you travel to aren't meant to be traveled to. And when I say random, I mean you pick a location on the planet that has no marker or quest, and you go there to explore. And the fact that there is nothing there, nothing interesting to be discovered, what is the point in having it there in the first place? Honestly, I'd rather it just wasn't there. It's like they made a pointlessly large game to say that we have a big game, when big is not always better. Look, you can go anywhere. And anywhere doesn't mean that that's going to be fun. Imagine you have a tablespoon of the nicest bloody curry you're ever gonna taste, and a swimming pool of overcooked rice. There might be more curry in the rice, who knows? All you know is you are not gonna finish all that rice. It's just a waste. That's Starfield. While I was doing a quest chain, I found myself on a planet, and that planet had a casino called the Red Mile, and I got quite excited. I thought, oh, I'm going to gamble some credits away, as I had a ton, but no, I was unable to, despite seeing stations for chess, checkers, and even cards. In Fallout New Vegas, you could gamble, I'm just saying.
Truth is, the game was rigged from the start.
And oh, the Red Mile is basically fucking Squid Game, where you run through a bunch of dangerous creatures and try to survive.
It's Squid Games! Bail!
It was quite boring under the circumstances, and some of the main quest locations are so ugly and feel so outdated. Look at Alpha Centauri. I have seen better looking PS3 games, it all feels so disconnected. Alpha looks like dog water, but space is very beautiful. It's like the stage in RuneScape where old and new overlap, where you have a HD character and a standard definition model, and it just puts you off the immersion. The water is a goddamn joke. It's a 2023 game, and it has 2002 fucking water effects. Go jump off of Neon. I'm not being rude. You will see it's bloody laughable. It's time to put your feet on the ground and get familiar with the floor. Before everything else, we're going to talk about the carry weight, because it's shameful. I think I started off with about £170 worth of weight. I have 1 spacesuit, 9 weapons, 2 packs, a bit of medicals, some ammo, and it is not enough to carry on playing the game. So in the end, I just console commanded myself 400 carry weight to better match previous Bethesda games, because 170 was nearly not enough, and you can get perks to upgrade it, but having to drop expensive weapons every time I pick one up is not good. And plus, when you're over encumbered, you start to lose oxygen, and when that oxygen runs out, you never guess what happens. You start losing health. Lockpicking and hacking, which are both the same thing, otherwise known as the Digipic minigame. It was okay the first few times, but after a few goes at the Digipic minigame, it gets extremely boring after a while. The problem with the Digipic minigame is Bethesda was trying to fix something that was not broken. The lockpicking in Skyrim and Fallout is absolutely fantastic, and it didn't need to be updated. They should have just moved that over into a digital format, but no, unfortunately, we ended up with this awful, annoying minigame that isn't fun. I found myself ignoring chests and doors because I was not interested in spending 10 minutes trying to unlock something for 2 bits of aluminium. Plus, Digipics at times can be hard to come by. I had a moment where I needed a Digipic for a main quest door, and this is another thing that comes up and falls short in Starfield, because the maps are utterly useless. They serve no purpose, they may as well not even be in the game. There are 0 markers and 0 clear direction on where things are. So if you are looking for a shop, good luck finding it, because it ain't gonna show up on the map. There should be direction, there should be quest markers in the locations of where things are. So long story short, I ended up console commanding myself in a bunch of Digipics because I was on Neon and I couldn't find a bloody shop. And I am not spending 20 minutes walking around a location looking for a shop, because that is a waste of bloody time, and that shit is precious. I'm pretty sure the throw grenade button is the same what VATS was in Fallout, and this has caused me to yeet grenades into crowds of people multiple times. Not that it matters, they are lifeless mannequins anyway. Another thing that has caused me to yeet grenades at people is the scanner button, and I've accidentally pushed the other one, and it has thrown a grenade. The gunplay, while it is really good, yes, I know, shocker, I really enjoy the gunplay, it is brilliant, it does feel like it's missing something. Fallout 4 is very lucky to have VATS. This adds a unique gameplay feature that makes each shot count. And without that, the gunplay can start to feel bland. In Starfield, the gunplay is literally just heal, shoot. It is very mid. Without a unique feature like VATS or something different, it makes it feel quite bland, and it does get kind of boring after a while. The game, unfortunately, has no innovation. There is nothing new or fresh. It is just old ideas on an old engine stitched together, but because we are told it is new, we follow blindly. I've already gone over in my previous video how bad the character creator is. This could be because I'm bad at it, but with very limited options, making certain characters not easy or even possible for me anyway. The game has no dismemberment, which is custom in all of Bethesda games, and for some reason, you are unable to blow your enemies' heads off. Some bullet marks don't even show up on the NPCs. Some of the planets can feel dense and compact, and I like the way some of the trees bunch together in a realistic fashion, but they all mostly feel dead. Most of the planets feel dead and empty, with nearly not enough life to make it feel like a living, breathing world. There are a maximum of like 6 creatures on some planets, going down to 3 on others. I wish they would have at least stretched it to like 20 different creatures, but no, unfortunately, most of the planets are dead, and it is quite disappointing. You are walking through this beautiful forest, and you just don't see anything alive. It is just humans in space because they couldn't be bothered to create aliens for this game. The NPCs that walk about are so bad. They are lifeless and look like they are made out of melted clay. The eyes pop out of their face, and there is nothing there. The NPC enemies look a little better, but the AI pathfinding is awful, and they sometimes get stuck. I'd say that the enemy NPCs are just about passable, nowhere near as good as previous games. Aside from NPCs, there are characters that you can talk to and interact with, and it is a mixed bag because most of them I couldn't care less. For example, nearly every member of Constellation are stuck up, annoying or boring, and I couldn't care less about them. They are the worst written characters that I have ever experienced in a game. Literally all of them could get blown up and die, and I wouldn't care less, and I'd just move on with my day. I don't understand how Bethesda created the most boring, useless characters you could ever interact with in any game ever. If you can't tell, I hate Constellation.
I hate them.
They are always so sorry and so apologetic. I'm gonna pander to your every wish and belief and make sure you're comfortable and worship the ground that you walk on. I hate them.
While we're on this journey together, I fully intend to respect your religious beliefs.
I really wish it was more like this. While we're on this journey together, I really couldn't give a fuck what you believe in. For some reason, Constellation feels like Railroad 2.0, but somehow worse. There's not really any way to go against them either. They are pretty integral to the story, so you can't just rock up to Constellation and murder everyone, which is what I would like to do. You have got other factions in the game, for example the Crimson Fleet, who, funny enough, are meant to be the baddies of the game, but are more likeable than anyone else in the game. Despite being portrayed as the bad guys, they have heart and soul, and you know that they are a flourishing community, even though that they do that in less than ideal ways. If you get some kind of large bounty, the UC, which are basically the police of the game, will capture you and say you have to infiltrate the Crimson Fleet, and this opens up the Crimson Fleet questline. And so you become an undercover cop basically inside the Crimson Fleet. But throughout this questline, the UC just treats you like utter dog shit. I won't spoil the Crimson Fleet questline because it is an actual good questline. The Crimson Fleet questline is better than the entire game. I found myself really enjoying that questline, and that's part of the game that I can highly recommend. Back to NPCs, the dialogue is also very boring. I had no connection to this world. They hadn't given me a reason to be interested or invested in the Starfield. It is so bland. And honestly, I didn't care. Fallout and Elder Scrolls have years of lore and backstory to build upon, and the folks over at Bethesda have done an awful job of getting you excited. The game also has no meme factor. Fallout 3 had things including Liberty Prime.
I die so that democracy may.
Skyrim had the arrow in the knee.
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.
Fallout 4 had another settlement needs your help.
Another settlement has sent word that they need our help. I'll mark it on your map. Go find out what they need.
Starfield has a bitten sandwich. It doesn't seem like there's any ongoing meme in this game. And finally, all of the NPCs feel like the same person. They all have the same facial animations. There don't seem to be any unique facial features for them. Every NPC I speak to does this thing where they raise their eyebrows and look at you, and it's so weird and uncanny valley.
That smile. That damn smile.
Talk to you later.
The story. The story is interesting because for me, most of it was bad and boring. It is basically going around collecting these artifacts and then keep on searching. It wasn't until at least 20 plus hours in where things started to get interesting and I had a good main quest. As I mentioned earlier in the video, Earth did play into the story a little bit, but it felt like it was just placed there for the sake of being placed there. If you get what I mean, like, they were like, oh, we need to put Earth in this story. How do we do that? Oh, let's just bung it in the middle. I'm gonna say there's gonna be a slight spoiler here for the antagonist and some of the unlockable skills. So if you don't want to know anything, I highly recommend to skip to this part of the video. Okay? So basically, you can unlock these space powers, and you get these special space abilities, kind of like the dragon shouts in Skyrim, but god damn, the minigame where you find them and have to fly through the glitter. The space temple is one of the worst aspects of the game, so basically you have this magical space glitter, and you have to go fly through the glitter like 5 times to make the things spin around, and then at the end you unlock the power. There are about 20 powers in the game, so you're gonna have to do this 20 bloody times. It's bloody dog water, I tell you. So the Starborn are people that start showing up later on in the game, and they show up after every temple at a certain point. And the context that I had at the time, that they were just alien ghost shiny motherfuckers. And so they attack you at the end of every temple now, and if you die, good f***ing luck, because you're gonna have to do that mini game all over again. So be sure to save after you finish collecting space glitter for your special power you're not gonna fucking use. There are good moments in the story, I will not lie. There are moments that I like and I think are really good, but most of it leaves a lot to be desired. It is a very poorly written story, and I know Bethesda aren't the best at stories, and I wasn't expecting a lot, but god damn. My expectations were low, but Jesus fucking Christ. And that was after skipping half the bullshit dialogue, was just them chatting shite. I really needed to devote a section of this video to mods, because mods are integral to Bethesda games. They are some of the most popular modded games over on Nexus Mods, and Starfield is no exception. There have been loads of mods that are coming out improving the game that is Starfield, but that's one of the problems. I feel like Bethesda have become reliant on modders fixing their broken games, so they won't add certain features, they won't spend time or effort creating things, because why the hell would you spend time and effort creating something when you know full well that modders are gonna fix it for you? And that is one of the biggest issues with Starfield, along with all of its bloody issues. They are becoming so lazy. There is a lot more wrong with Starfield than I ever first imagined. I thought this was going to be a bit of a walk in the park. It wasn't. I'm done torturing myself with this game, so if I've missed some stuff, I've missed some stuff. But I couldn't include it all because there is so much. So this is a conclusion of the bad. Starfield is a below average space game where space plays such a minimal role, it's practically pointless. The game would be a lot better if they had overhauled space and made it actually space rather than just the area you go to before you load to the planet. Its pointless travel systems and 10,000 loading screens break the immersion in multiple ways. The RPG-ness of the game is completely missing, and the game feels like it was made for the PS3/Xbox 360 era and was released in 2014 for people that aren't quite sure what a good game is. And now the good. I'm going to talk about everything that I really like about Starfield. Despite me not liking most of the characters in the game, there are some likable characters. For example, the adoring fan is hilarious, and I found this random dude on Neon who used to be a celebrity chef. He always calls me boss. I like him, he's quite funny. I think he's gonna kill me in my sleep one day though.
My penchant for improving synthetic food with real ingredients was a Grandma Caviar original.
Some of the items that you can find in the game are really cool. Like, I've got these chocolate Labradors, and they're really cute, and... hold on. Labradors are extinct. So you're telling me when everybody shipped off of Earth, no one bothered to take their pet with them? No one bothered to bring their little puppy along? for the ride. Dogs are extinct in Starfield. There is nothing I can say about this game that will make it good now. Nothing. 0 out of 10, dogs are extinct. No, you cannot pet the dog in Starfield because they're all dead. What do you think about Bethesda's controversial release of Starfield?
Bethesda's Starfield, quite the hot topic these days. As an Alaki warrior, I must confess I haven't had much time to keep up with the latest games and controversy. My focus lies more in the realm of combat and exploration. However, I've heard whispers of the controversy surrounding its release. It seems opinions are split, but only time will tell if it lives up to the hype.
Yeah.
Indeed, opinions on such matters often vary greatly. Is there anything else on your mind, stranger?
No, that's about it, I mean, plain and simple, opinions are split. They actually are. The opinions of Starfield have